We're the boat in the kingdom, can't turn around. We're lighting up the night, shaking up the ground. Excuses and flames, yeah, we're breaking free. We'll be fire, this is our legacy.
Yo, yo.
Yo, what's up?
What's up?
One big fire, man. That video, that intro video, I saw a little birdie, and then some Lake Tahoe, and it just dawned on me: in 23 days, you're gonna be hopping on that jet.
Yeah.
It's like this is like what, the third, fourth time only that you've used it. So you're
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
get on that birdie and fly into Tahoe, and it's we're gonna be there after Christmas and with the whole family.
Yeah, the whole family. Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna be good.
everybody. We got the Kinder family flying in on the jet. We got the Reese boys piling up, and the Stasic Robbins family. So it's gonna be awesome. We'll see if we get asked to not come back to Lake Tahoe.
Right.
Case.
Right.
That's how we used to roll.
Yeah. Well, we'll be good.
Yeah, man.
We'll be good.
Yeah. So I was telling you before we get into our topic about leverage, and one way not to get leverage is to get picked for jury duty. And I was telling you, like, this week I got picked for jury duty. I actually was on a trial one time when I lived in the other address, so it was a different county, and it was actually fascinating. This dude was selling meth rocks out of his house and got raided and the whole thing. And like, I got to see how a true professional defense attorney works firsthand. I mean, we see it on the movies, and we see it in the TV shows, and it was just, for me, fascinating. Like, a really, really good defense attorney is the best salesman in the world. Period. Yeah. End of story. I've never seen anything better. The way they work, it's an art. It's truly an art. So anyways, this time around, I have better shit to do. And it's important stuff that we're doing, planning for 2026. We got some new products coming out that are going to help our agents sell boatloads of homes. So I had to make sure that I wasn't picked for a jury, Jay.
Yeah.
This year, so that I walked in with this T-shirt.
Well, that ought to do it.
And our favorite red hat.
Yeah.
And so Thank you, Donald J. Trump, Mr. President, for getting me out of didn't get picked for that. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't get picked, but I didn't get picked.
Yeah.
I'm here. No idea. Yeah. I'm here enjoying this podcast with you. So here we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. So what you got going on, man? What's new?
Yeah, dude. Great. I mean, my week is bumper to bumper, call after call after call. Great. I mean, for me, dude, I love being elbow to elbow with the agent. Like, man, tell me what you're trying to do. And, we've just been blessed with, years of doing this. And, you get in this business and nobody gives you a game plan. Nobody gives you a map. And I had a call today. This will tie into this conversation today on leverage. And he has a full-time job and sells 16 homes a year, 5 kids, 4 of them on travel teams. His wife is concerned that if he sells more real estate, he's going to be gone more, and it's going to put pressure on her. And, I said, if you ever think, about going into a full-time, and he said, man, I got a pension if I do this for 15 years, and the ups and downs, because when you're primarily selling real estate by repeat referral sphere of influence, you have ups and downs. You have some months where you make nothing. And he was a teacher, so he had 3 months off a year. I mean, it made sense what he was doing, but he didn't want to get so busy that he didn't have leverage. So that was his concern. I said, man, let's go make the money, and then we'll show you how to get the leverage. Like, you could double your business pretty easily. You just don't have the mechanism in place for turning strangers into a customer increase conversations per day with people that want to buy and sell. If you put good systems in place, that doesn't have to be heavy. And, you can turn that on or turn it, and that's what he said he likes. He's like, well, I like the ability to turn it up or turn it down if I wanted to. I said, yeah. I said, but I said, it's a high class problem that you're so busy that that you don't have time to, you want to have control, because this business will take over your life. And so, I appreciated his, not willing to give up the, he said he was a glorified Uber driver. I was like, dude, I got 2 kids that I'm doing that with, and I can't imagine 5. And so, but it had to open up the gate of the mind. It's like, there's a lot of ways to get leverage that you can still close those deals and not have to be involved. We can have a showing agent and a showing assistant, or, there's just a lot of ways to solve that problem. But, let's solve the problem of not having enough money first. And then let's worry about making sure we put the right systems and leverage in place to make sure you're optimized doing more deals, not, more time per transaction, do 2 things at once. And so, but that's, I don't think that's most people's problem, right? They're not too worried about, they're just trying to scratch together another deal. But, I think you can create a lot of leverage in this business if you understand how to acquire a customer. If you don't, then you spend all your time trying to figure out how to acquire a customer.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've seen, I would say, hundreds of people who are teachers who have made a transition into real estate and then left that career behind and left that the good benefits, the summers off. And the question is, what made them change their mind? And
yep.
Because I believe, first of all, I believe that really good teachers are underpaid.
We
need such good teachers, like what they deal with on a daily basis. I would not want to do it. So we know one thing, that if somebody's getting into teaching, they're not doing it for the money.
Right.
They're doing it because they love it. And so then it boils down to, okay, is the salary you're getting. And I mean, if they got a master's degree, I mean, in my area where my boys went to school, some of those teachers were making, 70, 80, 90,000 a year, maybe more. But I was even shocked that was what the salaries were. It was a public school, nice, real good school district. Taxes were super high in there. But so that's, let's say it's 90 grand a year. The question is, what are you trading? So you're getting 90 grand a year with good benefits. Let's say you tack the benefits on top, that takes it up to 110,000 is the actual value. You know what I mean? Because of the benefits that are tagged in there.
Right.
And then you get the 2.5 months off during the summer, which is cool.
Yep.
What are you willing to do? Like what has to be true for you to trade that comfort zone? Because they're living in that comfort zone. What has to be true? Well, they have to have some level of certainty that they have to. I mean, for me, if it was me, I think if someone looked at me and said, what if I were to be able to double your income and you could still take time off in the summer, you just have to structure it right, would you consider stopping teaching? And I mean, I guess it just depends on how really much you're in love with teaching the youngsters,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I chose not to solve, the 80,000 a year pension 15 years from now. I mean, I get it. Okay. Let's keep that going, but let's not get there faster if we can. Let's get to a place where if you wanted to do it in 7 years, you could.
Yeah.
That's, obviously the pension, he has to be there 15 years, but if he invests, make some investments, he could probably get there faster if he's making triple or quadruple the money.
Well, you don't really have a whole lot of control in that situation. You don't have control where your money and your pension's being invested, really. That's usually a union that has most control over that. And so, I think what it comes down to is, and what we're talking about today is, you're either playing a short game or you're playing the long game with your business. And we see it all the time. Agents who are trying to look for those quick short-term fixes are right back at the table trying to figure it out again the next month. Or maybe they think they got it. They see that thing online and it's like, okay, this is going to fix my business. I'll buy this lead system, or I'll buy this coaching program, or I'll buy this. I mean, you and I have bought it all.
Yeah.
We literally bought it all.
Yeah.
But what you end up having is a short-term strategy to solve a long-term problem. And the long-term problem, at least for us, and I would say 95% of the agents we meet, it's freedom. The goal is freedom, period. So the question becomes, how do I what does freedom look like specifically?
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to the perfect day exercise, which I love so much. And it kind of goes like, this is actually fitting that we're talking about this coming into the new year, but the perfect day is, and man, I mean, I'm going to venture and say that when you move to Puerto Rico, at least for the first year, maybe year and a half before like reality of where you were started really setting in, like you were kind of living your perfect day, right? Like you had the beach, you were in a Ritz style resort, perfect weather every single day. You're surrounded by people that are very successful entrepreneurs, billionaires, multimillionaires, meeting really cool people. And you were living your perfect day until you weren't, you know? And so but it boils down to like, I did that same thing. Like, I don't think that I could live on an island in the Caribbean.
Yep.
I discovered like maybe when I'm visiting there, I'm thinking, okay, I think I could live here until you're there for a long period of time and you're ready to go home.
Do it for 4 years. Do it for 4 years and come back and talk to me. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So everybody's version of what freedom is different. And it's not like it's right or wrong, but whether you like it or not, you have to master your money game in order to get there. Mm-hmm. Unless, of course, the only other path is become a monk and just sell it, literally everything, get skinny as possible. You know what I mean? Like there's another way to freedom and that's it. So unless you're willing to sell everything, and if you are, there's no judgment here. This is just a path to freedom. Yep. Now you have zero obligations. You have zero expenses. You can live your monk lifestyle. If that's not in the cards for you, you need to make money. And in order to make money, the most wealthy people that we know, we did it through leverage. And it's not through grinding every single day and trying to find, this solution, that solution. It's finding leverage in your business and focusing on the high leveraged activities. And we know what those activities are. High leverage activities, listing appointments, getting face-to-face. When you were growing your business, Jay, I'm talking before you grew the team in Lawton.
Yeah.
You hired, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 staff members.
Yeah,
right?
it was 4. 4 staff. I didn't know what I was doing. There back then there wasn't really teams. That was the Red Book hadn't even come out. So yeah, so I didn't know what I just knew that I didn't have time to do all of the things that I didn't like doing and I wasn't any good at, and having somebody do that stuff while I did the stuff that I felt like was I wasn't thinking, oh, this is higher leverage. I was like, man, I got leads I got to call, I got people I got to show. I can't be over here doing this stuff. Later I learned out this was a really good process, but I delegated all the things that were low dollar per hour, that I could pay somebody $8 or $10 an hour to do. And I did all the things that, and I got to 233 transactions before I ever hired any agents on my team. I had four admin. And yeah, dude, it was, I don't recommend that necessarily, but I certainly made the most money that you could make out of that. My margins were strong, for sure.
Right. But you grew that, ended up bringing on some agents, getting more leverage. Your whole core of the building of your business was all built off of leverage. Everything was leverage.
Yep.
And
it got to a point, Al, where I remember, I'll never forget, this guy's name was Lester Warren. And I bet I showed him every house between 100,000 and 400,000. Now that's because he couldn't decide if he wanted to get a littler house and fix it up or a bigger house and not have to do any work, because he was not a qualified buyer. I worked with him mainly because he was in charge of the recruiting and hiring at one of the third or fourth largest employer in Lawton. And so he was a conduit to a lot of referrals. But I was always in the car showing this guy. And so hours and hours and hours. And at a certain point I was like, man, if I didn't have to do this, like I got this listing appointment I could be on right now, but I was losing deals because I wasn't able to follow up. I wasn't getting face-to-face on the listing and I was too busy. And I was like, I can't do buyers anymore. I have to shift. because I was missing opportunities. And that's when I hired the first 3 buyer's agents and started delegating that. The buy side, I had the relationships with most of those buyers, and then I handed them to the buyer's agents. And in lieu of that, I went and spent 2 hours with the seller and got a deal instead of spending 21 hours with the buyer and getting a deal. And that was why it was, a high leverage activity.
Yeah. First thing I did, and I got those buyers off of my plate, and got a showing agent, and she was amazing. Her name's Roseanne, and we're gonna send prayers her way. She needs them. Roseanne's an amazing human being. We love her. So yeah, man. So it's really kind of like, I was just talking to someone the other day about our system, Funnel Pilot, and they actually didn't know who you were, but what they did know was that you sold over 530 homes in 1 year. And in order to do that, you had to have leverage in your business. And that's really Funnel Pilot. We should have called it like Leverage Pilot because
Autopilot,
because literally what we built is a copy and paste paint by number system to take the exact system and systems that Jay Kinder built a business that sold 530 homes in 1 year. Number 2 agent and Coldwell Banker. We take that, copy and paste it right into our agents' businesses, and guess what? They're making 6 figures. Brand new agents like Travis and Lawton, following in your footsteps in your old backyard. Just bought him his first house for him and his daughter, and he was living with his parents when we met him.
Yep,
he was living in their back barn that they turned into an apartment, actually.
Right.
Okay? And all he did, he didn't go out and buy a bunch of shit. All he did was copied our system and pasted it into his business. And then he showed up on some of our coaching calls, and the rest is history. He's making more money than he's ever made in his entire life, and he doesn't have to live in his parents' barn anymore.
Right.
So, we're seeing these success stories, and the cool thing is, what we have, dude, I'm so pumped for 2026.
Right.
What we're going to be launching, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. It's taken us this long, really, to launch this side of the business, because it's where you and I, our claim to fame is on listings.
Right.
We were straight up listing gangsters, and that's how we grew our business. That's the highest leverage activity you can do in your business, is that, or recruit a very high producing agent. Those are the 2 highest leverage points you can get in the real estate business, in my opinion.
Great. Yep.
And so, I mean, maybe unless you want to throw in like a referral type funnel business, if you see that, I guess that's a high leverage activity as well as referrals, but there's only so many of those.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I explain it is, yeah, you should generate as many, and there should be a metric to it. How many people do you have in your database, and what's the ratio of referrals you get per year? And if you can increase your referral ratio out of that, then there's an opportunity to do that, but there's only so much, and it's limited. It's like you can't push a lever and make it double. You just can't. It doesn't. You can go. What are you going to do? Pop buys, and you think you're going to double your referrals? It doesn't work that way. So at some point you have to shift to, I got to learn how to turn strangers into a customer. And that's where there's a bunch of people, really greedy people going, oh, let's get someone to hit their commission. They want to siphon off of your, well, I can do that for you. Zillow, I'll take 40%. That's where you run into a million ways to do it. And then you're trying to figure out, well, what's the best way? Should I buy this or that, or these leads or those leads? What's the difference? But until you have control of those, and you can turn up the knob up and down on how many leads you get. And that's just a skill. They don't teach you that in school. It's not the easiest thing in the world to go figure out. But that's what changed my business. I'll never forget, dude, when I walked in the office one day, and I'd been running all these different ads and didn't know what was going to work or not. But I walked in out for a listing appointment, and my receptionist at the front desk had 2 messages on those little perforated tabs. Come list me, 2 come list me's. people I didn't know. And I was like, wait a second, we on to something here. Like, that's not how I get listing appointments. In the past, it was either referral or it was, banging cold calls or whatever. I'm like, I like the way that felt. Like, how do we do more of that? And I was like, okay, you can spend money and get a call. And when you know how to do that, all the things you need, your confidence goes through the roof. Okay, I can do this. I got this something figured out here. And that's a crucial point.
Explain to people that don't know what a come list me lead is.
Oh, yeah.
I know I've had those.
Yeah, somebody that called my office that doesn't know who I am, never met, and they want me to come out and list their house. That's it. Like, just, hey, I need to sell my house, come list it.
Yeah.
There you walk in the door, you give a little presentation, they list the house. Just easy as that. And it got to a point where I was going on 5 appointments like that a day. And I did it all through marketing. And I can do it anywhere. I can do it in any market. I can help any agent do it. And
so when we're talking about the 4 leverage points in your business, if you want to grow a business, literally you can grow a business as big as you want. And we know this is not theory. This is straight fact. There's 4 leverage points. It's lead generation. You have to be able to convert those leads. So lead conversion. And then there's marketing and your content strategy. What content are you using to attract business? You ended up with come list me leads because you mastered marketing. Mm-hmm. And when we hear it so much, it's become cliched, but it's so hard to figure out. Like, well, marketing is such a big word. Well, what do you mean? When you're able to be the goal, Jay, and for you were thought of either number 1 or number 2 in your market. That was it. If you're number 3, you're out, right?
Yeah. You think of it's a 2-horse race. If somebody wakes up and decides they need to sell their house, they're going to think of 2 people probably that they may call. They're probably not going to think of 3. But if you can own the space and that person, I don't care if it's a neighborhood, if it's a listener base of 15,000 people that listen to a particular radio station, I don't care. It could be the people in it could be any number of people. But if you can own that segment of the market's mind as the number 1 or number 2 person they think of, the phone will ring and people will call you. And that's why you get repeat and referral and sphere, because you own the number 1 space in their mind, or number 2. Yeah. And so it's now, how do we do that in a way that gets people that don't know, like, and trust you to think of you first? And you do that through marketing, and you do it through frequency, you do it through the frequency of the message that you're putting in front of them, not just, this is why, I know nobody teaches this, because I still get direct mail from agents where they send me 1 piece of mail and I never get anything again. That is the equivalent of yelling into a windstorm. Like, are you kidding me? I get so much mail. You send me 1 postcard and you think what did you think? I was on the way to the mailbox saying a prayer? Lord, I don't know anybody in real estate. Please send me a sign of what I should do about selling this out. Oh my God. You answered my prayer. No, that's not enough. They once a month, not going to remember you. Twice a month, maybe, probably not. You send me a postcard every week for 10 weeks, and then every other week, I'm probably thinking of you first. And that is the game of marketing. And what you put in that message to position you as the go-to expert to sell that home is super important. How are you adding value with what you're sending? What content are you giving them that's valuable to them? And all of those things matter. But it is absolutely duplicatable. It works in every marketplace. Like, this goes back to, Don, I know Don Hobbs, but Don, back in the day, I bought Hobbs and Herter's package of branding, and I had these pillars, the Jay Kinder Home Selling Team, and I bought all their branding and everything. But did you know that Don Hobbs was the one that did the blind test of the agent in a marketplace where they mailed the entire neighborhood this fake agent that didn't exist, and then they surveyed the neighborhood.
Tell the story though, because most people haven't heard it.
This is fascinating. This is like folklore, but it's a true story. And Don Hobbs and Hobbs Herter did this study, and he's a marketing and branding genius. And they mailed this neighborhood postcards and mailers over the course of a 6-month period. And it was a high frequency mailer that they did. And then they surveyed the neighborhood, I think between 6 and 8 months after they had mailed all these mailers. And they said, who do you think the top agent in the market is? They had made up this agent. Made up agent's name was the number one person that the people in that community thought was the number one agent in the market. They didn't even exist. They had only done all these mailers over this period of time, and they captured mind share. And that's their perception was this must be the number one agent in the market. And so that's a fascinating, it's a truth. It's just a truth. When you understand marketing, you don't ignore things like that. Like, okay, how'd that work?
Yeah.
They got mind share. But yeah, that's the, if I wake up once a week, Al, wanting to just do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a fascinating thing that it can be accomplished. It's probably a little bit harder today if you are non-existent in a market. They can't go find Google reviews on you or this, that. As long as you, and this is super important, and this has been the case forever, whether I'm doing billboards, radio, direct mail, TV, any of those things, they don't go to whatever the thing is you put on like you can put a custom URL, but they're going to go to the thing they remember. They're going to go to Google and they're going to type it in, and whatever pops up as far as your website, if it's not relevant, then you're not going to get that lead. The person that drove by my billboards every single day, they went and Googled Jake Hinder, and jakehinder.com popped up, and there's things about selling your house and guaranteed sale and all this stuff. And message match, right? And so if somebody Googles your name and it's your buyer home search page that shows up, that seller ain't calling you. Your not message doesn't match what they're looking for. They saw your offer and then they landed on this buyer page. It's not the connection. I don't understand what, it's not the right message.
Yeah.
Like it's super, all of those things are super important. And we did radio for, somebody made a comment. I was on a call the other day and she coached with us back in like 2007. And she's like, you ever think about how many people have come through like the things that you've done over the years? And I was like, man, I don't ever really think about it. I said, I know a lot of really cool people that went out and did the work, and I didn't do anything. They just happened to cross my path at some point, and hopefully I added some value, but I didn't make these people. They were going to win. We gave them a good formula for help winning bigger and faster a lot of times. But the top agents across the country, they all understood the principles of marketing. All of them. They all have the phone ringing every day with people wanting to list their house. But it's reach and frequency and understanding how to do that. But the ones that would try, try radio and it didn't work, if you went and Googled their name, you couldn't find them. It was understanding the consumer and how they operate. They're not just going to go to your weird URL that you put in your ad. They're going to Google what they remember. So you better make sure they remember something that when they Google that, especially like if your name was John Smith, hard to show up on Google for John Smith. You might need to be John W. Smith. Or you might need to have
my name, dude.
Huh?
I'd be changing my name legally.
Yeah. Because it's
agents that have.
Yep. It's not distinct enough that when they look for you, that they're going to absolutely find you. And those are things that again, you if you don't understand how the consumer goes to look for you, then you don't even, you just think, well, radio don't work or this direct mail don't work. You have to, and that's why, like, my favorite story, I've told it so many times, is Mike Reese is, mailing all those postcards in Frisco. And I'm riding around with him, his mailer drops, and the lady calls him, he puts it on speaker, and she's like, is this Michael Reese? I could wallpaper my bathroom with all these postcards you've been sending me. I need to sell my house. I'm like, Mike had top of mind. Like, same postcard, branded Mike Reese, branded Mike Reese, branded Mike Reese. And, and that, those things can be duplicated. And so, like, it's fun for us now because we get to help other people do it. I'm not trying to build my brand. Like I said, I do wake up about once a week thinking, man, that'd be fun, but that's not the goal. Let's just help other people do it. Yeah.
By the way, hit up jakehinder.com, albystasic.com. You can get a link and jump on our calendar, and we'll help anybody. So we'll help you get unstuck and figure out a strategy for you. But this got me thinking about 20 years ago. I remember this guy and he wasn't even at my brokerage. I just did a co-broke with him. And he didn't even live in Bay Village where I live, but he was marketing it heavily. He had the shittiest postcards you've ever seen. Not only were they just bad, like the messaging was bad, and the paper that he used was so cheap that it would, like, if it was raining even a little bit, it would bleed.
Right.
This dude was taking over like you wouldn't believe. And it was like the shittiest thing. The marketing was awful. Okay. But the point is then all you needed to be was consistent. You didn't even need to be good. Today, I don't think that you have the luxury of not having the right marketing message, because as you said, you were getting mailed from somebody who barely ever mailed the consistently. But even if you're consistent, you're mailing me once a week and I'm seeing you. Yeah, I guess your mind, in my mind, I'm going to see your name. So you're going to live inside my brain a little bit from a marketing perspective. But if it's shitty marketing and I'm getting better marketing and I'm looking for someone who's going to be, an actual professional marketer, you need to have your stuff dialed in. With AI these days, if you have crappy marketing, you're done. You're basically flushing your money down the toilet. Still, dude, to this day, I was driving back from yesterday when I came back from court, and I see billboards with the same bullshit message that I'm seeing these agents, and I want to call them, not to call them out, but just truly to help them. And they're not even with EXP or nothing, but thinking of buying or selling this year, call me, or there's some weird thing. And it's like, when I see it, in fact, I was out in Sandusky where I keep the boat, and on my way home, I saw one of our agents had a billboard up, and I took a picture of it. I'm like, I'm calling this guy. I'm like, brother, change that billboard up. How about I didn't even say that. What I said is, how many calls you get from that billboard? And he's like, I don't know. And he's like I said, I'm like, okay, well, do you think you may have gotten one or two in the last 6 months? He's like, yeah, I probably got two. I'm like, well, what if I could just, 10x that?
Yep.
I mean, and it's probably a 100x by just changing the offer.
Yeah.
And changing how
I actually made this mistake. I got creative one time and changed up. You get tired of looking at your own shit after a while, and we're gonna change it up. So we changed up the billboard. It looked better on the screen than it did on the billboard, and that happens all the time. Like you're like, it looks good on the screen, and then you put it up there, it's way too small. Like everything was.
Yeah.
And I got one call a month from that billboard. We changed it after that to a better message. This was a lesson I had already learned, so I shouldn't have had to learn it again, but I did. 8 calls. So 8 come list me's versus 1. Just change the message. Same billboard, change the message.
Same call per month.
So went from one listing taken, 1 come list me to 8.
8. You 8x'd it with one change, and it didn't cost you any more money. You just changed the message.
Yep.
Yeah. And now again, you got no excuse with AI. You have, if anybody's out there putting billboards out with the same message we read in 1985, I just feel bad for you, because you're flushing you might as well just take that stack of money you're spending and take it into your bathroom and use it to wipe your bottom, because you're going to get more usage out of it than spending money on a billboard with a dumb message like that. Yep. So anywho,
there was an agent that when I lived in Aubrey that had a billboard, and I know, they were like, they probably made this big decision, man, it's like probably $500 a month for this bill. It was a kind of a smaller billboard in a little small town. And like, we're going to spend money on marketing and do this billboard. And it, what they put on it, discounted if you list with us 1%. So, it just made me cringe. I'm like, damn, man, every person that ever paid you a full commission now sees your billboard and knows that you'll do it for 1%.
Oh, and they're pissed off now.
I mean, yeah, right. They're either pissed off or they know they're going to get it. Now, the only thing you did was you let everybody know you'll do it. You'll negotiate. And so dumbest thing I've ever seen anyone do. And, what did you think you were going to get 3 times the number of calls because of that? It just is such a now you're known for this being a discounter. So that terrible message to the
race
market.
to the bottom.
Yep.
It's a race to the bottom. Yeah, so a couple of our top agents right now are leveraging, you know, if you're not using the universal offer of sell your home for cash quickly, the guaranteed offer, you know, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. The picture of you with some catchy phrase. Now I'll push back on what I'm saying a little bit. And it's only because of a gentleman by the name of Jeff Cook, who actually really did like he did go in the other direction, but he did it so damn good that it actually worked. But other than Jeff, if you ain't Jeff Cook, who his billboard game was strong, like what he was doing, but he was spending probably 20 grand a month in all the different billboards, and he stayed with it for years and years. And of course he got mindset because he went the humorous route with it, and it was funny, and it was so good that it got him on the news. And once you get, you know, noticed on the news and that free media, that's one thing. But you should be, everyone, if you're going to be spending money on big money, I don't care if it's bus stops. A lot of people are trying to market themselves using the shopping cart deal. Have an offer, not just your face, not just, hey, buying or selling, call me. There's no unique value. There's no unique selling proposition in that. You're not giving anyone a compelling reason to do that other than they're seeing your face. And maybe you were blessed with good looks. Good for you. The rest of us, we need an offer. Okay. Yeah. And on top of that, I'll make this statement. If you're using big media like that and expecting calls, and really, like, I want you to look in the mirror, walk into the bathroom, and ask yourself really the reason. Are you doing it so that all your friends from church that you know are going to drive by the sign and say, hey, Jay, I saw your sign.
Yeah.
That gives you this little rush. It's the wrong reason to put that up. I will guarantee you're leaving 6 figures minimum on the table if you don't switch that offer up to a guaranteed cash offer.
Yep.
You just are. And it's direct response marketing 101.
Yep.
Solving the problem. I remember talk about so let's turn the hands of time back to 2012. I opened my first real estate office. I ran a Tough Mudder. I got hurt. I was literally on crutches and you and Mike came walking in. This is before we weren't real close buddies. I was just a client of your guys's. Okay. And you were coming into Cleveland to meet Dan Kennedy.
Yep.
You remember this.
I remember it. It
was raining. You flew into, there's only one reason that you would have to come into Cleveland then, and that was to come see Dan Kennedy.
Yeah.
And so you surprised me. I didn't know you were coming. You come walking in. The first thing you did, dude, was you walked in, you saw my Mimi's ad sitting on my desk with this big, it said, your home sold in 30 days or it's free. And you're like, change that headline right there. Literally, I was spending at the time, it was a lot of money for me, probably about $5,000 a month to be in every Mimi's magazine in Northeast Ohio. And I had the wrong headline. I literally changed that up to a guaranteed sale. And I doubled the number of come list me leads just because I didn't spend any more money.
Right.
Same exact publication. It was going to the same houses. And I literally doubled my number of listing call-ins that I was getting.
Right.
Changing and tweaking it. So
this is also known as leverage, right?
It is.
Marketing is a great form of leverage when it's done correctly.
Yeah. So the 4 pillars: lead generation, lead conversion, marketing, meaning your branding, I should say, your branding and your content strategy. When you have all of those oil wells pumping, that's when you start to see momentum. And that's exactly what we're seeing so many of our agents do, not just, Travis, but agents in Florida, Texas, Ohio, the Carolinas. They're all winning bigger. And before we met them, they, like you had said earlier, they were already winners, but we're helping them win faster and bigger. And we're helping them double their business quicker because they're just using us as leverage and we don't have to take their credit card.
Yep.
And man, it was kind of going back to like circling back to the teacher conversation we were having.
Yeah.
Is that the teachers don't do, they're not going in there and teaching our little snotty nosed kids because for the big paycheck. They do it because they love what they're doing. And it's kind of a similar situation with us. Obviously we're, blessed and paid very well, but like our daily things that we're doing, our daily meetings, our daily huddles, our daily trainings, everything that we're doing, our team is doing for agents to win. We're doing it because we just love it. And it's kind of like what a school teacher does. They go in there, they go in there every single day with kids sneezing and getting sick and fights and all the things that happen in school because they just love that. Right. And that's kind of how I feel right now. And in the stretch of legacy that we're laying the road of legacy down. And it's never been more fun. So
yeah. This is what people need to understand. If you're going to listen to anything that we're telling you, listen to this. Every person that could actually help you with growing your business has a business model where they are looking to take money from you. And that's not a bad thing. It's capitalism. I'm fine with that. I used to sell coaching. I sold coaching to Al, helped him grow his business. He was happy to pay. That was a business. That's what most people are trying to do. You just have to find the right people to pay. But I don't think most people understand this. Because of EXP's model, we don't wake up every day saying, man, we got to sell this much of a product. We wake up every day going, how do we help agents win bigger and win faster? How can we implement this for them? How do we get them? How do we do it for them? Make it easy, make it simple. And we never think about trying to charge you. We're not trying to siphon money from you. We're not trying to build it, get you to join our team. We're not trying to get you to pay us a referral fee for that deal. I've done all of those things, and people were happy to pay it. But because of EXP's business model and the fact that we get paid through revenue share, we have no incentive to try to sell you anything, only to try to help you. That is a fundamentally will be unfound in the industry. No one else you're talking to is the salesperson gets a commission when they sell you, whatever it is. They're trying to monetize you. We are not trying to monetize you. We're just trying to help you. So hopefully more people understand that, because when it sounds too good to be true, well, you should see how much we get paid. We don't need the money. We just need the people that want our help. And we're not trying to charge you for it. So it's a pretty good deal for you.
Yes, sir. Well, man, I think that wraps it up. Another fun episode of One Big Fire. If you want to see up underneath the hood, the truth is, dude, there isn't too many problems in real estate. That I don't think there's a problem out there that an agent has, especially one that's trying to either grow a team and their problem is recruiting talent, or someone that's just trying to get the 50 sales a year that we haven't seen. I mean, we've seen a lot of curveballs. And check out jakehinder.com, check out albystasic.com, and we'd be delighted to sit down and show you what's behind the curtain. But yeah, man, until then, we'll see you at the top.
Or from the top.
Take care.